everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I hope y'all are having an absolutely amazing day today. If you're new here, hi, I'm Liz, aka My Pastel Past, and I do a ton of cozy gaming content here on YouTube. I am so excited to be bringing you all today's video as we are back with another speed build of my entrance for my pink Christmas core island. I am so happy and excited to finally be back and making videos for you all. It has definitely been far too long. However, as of right now, I am still unable to use my face cam, so we're still going back to my roots and doing faceless videos for right now. However, speaking of which, I do have some good news that I'm really excited to share with you all. There is an amazing individual who was very generous, and they've chosen to remain anonymous, but they have very graciously donated our entire donation goal and has funded the power supply that I need for my computer to go back to making content the way I used to. So to this individual, you know who you are, and just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really truly appreciate it. I cannot wait to be bringing you all more and more content. But with that being said, and before I get too emotional, we're just going to go back onto this video. For those that missed it, we did actually make this entrance live. If you would like to see the full live stream, I will be linking that in the description. First off, we're just kind of plotting out where the path is going to be, and this is an unfinished path that I had made myself. I was originally going to attempt to make all the paths on this island. However, when I originally started my Christmas Island challenge, I started it on December 1st, and the challenge was to finish it by the 25th. However, the day I was making this, I think it was like the 14th or 15th of December last week, and I had completely forgotten about this island until then, so it was kind of one of those panic moments where it was like, uh-oh, I'm running out of time, I have a bunch of unfinished paths. So for the build, I used my own path. I ended up switching it up later, and I'll leave the codes that I used in this video down in the description. Some of them it's not shown in here, like the path I end up switching out this path for, but it's an absolutely gorgeous path, and I'll leave it in the description anyway because I'll show a little image that I've taken after I've made some updates to this build later on that actually does showcase that path. But I really wanted to have a more natural island this time. I feel like the past few islands I've been making, they've been really structured. The one I made in summer, my resort core island, Coral Cove, while it did have a lot of nature aspects to it, I had a lot of really structured builds in it, and I really wanted to try to avoid that with this island. Same with my Halloween island of Lockwood. That was a very, very structured island, but that was very limited on the terraforming aspect. So I really wanted to avoid doing that on this island. I wanted to go back to the kind of islands that I used to make when the game first came out, which was very nature core, cottage core islands. Obviously this isn't a cottage core island, but it is going to be a little bit more on the nature side. So we're using this kind of ice path to wind its way around the island, and I really just wanted it to rope and twist and turn to just kind of make it seem like people have been walking in the snow for a really long time, and it just kind of like clumps together, if that makes sense. That's the kind of look that we were going for here. And I wanted to make sure that it's split in two ways. One way was to lead up to the resident services, and the other was to lead to the left, which would eventually break out into more paths that'll lead up to where we have the Able Sisters and Nook's Cranny, which is in another live stream, and I will be making another speed video or speed build on the Able Sisters build, so keep an eye out for that. And then it will also wind around to a few villager homes and eventually lead up to where my villager's house is going to be. I also wanted to have a lot of trees kind of lining the path to give it that overgrown feel. And the way I do this is I always like putting these little brown squares down where I absolutely know I want trees. It makes it a lot easier when I'm planning out an island like this, where I have to do a lot of terraforming, because with trees in Animal Crossing, we can't have them next to things like cliffs and rivers. Why? I don't fully understand, but that's what Nintendo has done. So for the entrance, I did want to have the lake on the left. I got really lucky when I first picked this island. I had ended up already having a lake on the left-hand side of the airport. And then I also wanted to have some cliff sides on either side. On the left, there's going to be some waterfalls going down into the little lake that we have there. And then here on the right area where I am working on right now is going to be a really big cliffside. It's going to lead up to a few resident homes, and eventually it's going to lead down into this little post office area that I'm going to be making. But in making the entrance, I wanted to finish this cliffside area first. That way I knew exactly how much room I had to work with within that space. So I'm really just kind of outlining those giant areas. The last thing I want to do, especially when I'm so time limited on this island, is to create areas that I'm working with and then realize that future builds don't have enough space, or I have too much space. So when I realized how much time I had left for this island, I kind of went into panic mode and went, okay, we need to know exactly how much space we have for what on this island. So that's what I'm kind of doing here. I'm just kind of filling in the space, and we'll skip over it shortly. In all honesty, I wish I would have done more last week on this island, because as of today, as of recording this voiceover, it is the 20th. This video is going to go out later today. And I still have a lot to do to finish this island before Christmas, so fingers crossed we can do it. Let me know down in the comments. Do you think we're going to finish this island in time? Because I'm really hoping we will. Now that that left side has been completely covered, we're working on the right side here. I didn't want this area to be as big as the left. I really just wanted it to be a little bit of its own little structure. I end up changing that later on because I never actually finished this cliffside. I ended up later on in the week adding it on additionally, which you don't see in this video, but again, I'll leave some links in the description to my past live streams in case anyone's curious on saying how far my island has come since then, as I did do an update the other day on stream. Once those cliffs are done and the waterfalls are put in, it's time to do my absolute favorite part, which is seeing the trees go in and then placing the flowers and the shrubs. Now, because this is a Christmas island, I had to figure out if I wanted to use hardwood trees or cedar trees. And because of how the trees look at wintertime, I ended up going with more of the cedar trees and only a couple hardwood trees here and there. And even though I had already figured out where I wanted some of them, I ended up having to move some anyway. The reason I went with more cedar trees than hardwood trees is because I like how the cedar trees look when they have all of the different Christmas lights on them, especially when you're nearing Christmas, because they just kind of glow a little bit more. Especially with the Christmas island like this, I'm using a lot of the festive items, so like the Christmas trees, the ornaments, and all of that fun stuff. So they all really give like this glowy, whimsical effect that I think of when it comes to like Christmas time. So I wanted to make sure I had that in the trees as well, especially since it's going to be one of the few things that isn't pink, because the main items here is going to be pink and white. When I did first start decorating this area though, I did add other elements. I used silver and gold. I ended up switching it, but I did keep it in this video, so you'll see that later on. Right now I'm just placing down my flowers. This is another thing that I do when I plan out islands, especially when I know I'm limited in space and in time. I like to figure out exactly where I want my flowers, my shrubs, and my trees, because then I can decorate around it and they don't look overly cramped afterwards. I feel like if I decorate first and then try to put flowers, I either have too many flowers or I forget to put paths underneath it like I'm doing now. And then they overgrow on their own. So this is just a blank design path. I end up covering the entire area in this, although I don't think I show all of it in this video. I think I cut most of it out. There, I did do it. And I also time traveled to get these shrubs to go and become full size. And I also added a little staircase here, which will lead to a build later on. But again, I wanted to keep it in this video. Why? I don't know. It just made sense to editing me earlier on. But I really like putting my flowers in first, because once I'm able to get those clear paths down, then I know I'm not going to be overrun with flowers. Because I've done it before where I've placed my flowers, didn't place any paths, and just went straight into decorating, and then you time travel or it rained and snows on your island, and then the next day you realize, oh gosh, I've missed some spots. Now there's too many flowers and it looks a little weird. Also in this corner, I wanted to make a little bit of a picnic area. I know it's kind of odd to have in wintertime, but picnics are kind of like a staple for me when it comes to decorating little parts of my island. So that's what I went with. And of course, it's the pink and blue and white colors to kind of go with this color scheme that we're going. This is where I say I had a different idea originally when I started this build. I wanted to use some blues, silvers, and golds to accent the pink. And the reason for this is because when I first started building this, I was worried that the pink wouldn't come off as Christmassy. I've always wanted to have a pink Christmas, and unfortunately I've never been allowed to be in charge of the decorating for Christmas time because of it, because I'm the only one in my family who loves pink this much. So obviously we couldn't do it, and so I had to do an Animal Crossing. Fun fact, I was going to have my own little pink Christmas tree this year to keep in the background of my videos and my streams, but someone decided to steal my Christmas tree off my porch when it was being delivered, so I never did end up getting that pink Christmas tree. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get one next year. I did end up taking all those items down. I kept a few of the silver ones just to balance out the pink because we have pink and white flowers. I wanted at least a couple of the silver items as well, just so it wouldn't be overbearing as much. And then we're adding in the pink elements once again, and I'm just in love with how pink this all turns out in the end. It's so shiny and so pretty, and it's just fulfilling all of my little pink whimsical dreams. Another struggle I had was trying to figure out where I wanted to place things, because it really was, I wasn't sure where things would fit and where things would go. So at this point, I'm just kind of running around, seeing where I have room for stuff, what really works, what doesn't. And then I kind of have to go back and forth and then craft even more items for it. I knew I wanted something in this area to be a little bit bigger. I had to remove some of the shrubs just so I could have the tree in the area. I also later on wanted to place a bench here. Unfortunately, I didn't have one at the time of this build, but I do end up adding it later on. It doesn't show in the speed build because it was on a different day after this live stream. But we're just kind of adding everything we can. And of course, I didn't want too many trees, so we had to add in a giant ornament because they're also super cute. The really fun thing about this build for me was that these are items that I've never really used before in an island. I've never ever done a holiday island before. I've always been really intimidated by them because I feel like you either don't have enough time or I just don't do it justice. So with this one, I really wanted to do as much as I could to make it feel like a Christmas that I would have decorated within my own home. Again, I trap myself, have to run around, classic Liz move here. And then I have fallen in love with these little ornament trees. I think they're so cute. If I could have one in real life, I 100% would because they're just adorable. And then I did get rid of that package. I do add some things later on, but this is the build as of right now. And then here is an image of what it looks like later on. It does show the little bit of the newer path, but this is what the build looked like at the very end. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you again for the anonymous donor for helping me get my power supply for my computer. I hope you all enjoyed this little speed build, and I'm so excited to be bringing you so many more exciting new videos and live streams. But thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of my content, and like the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!